Hi guys, welcome. So I have been really sat thinking and deciding whether or not I was going to talk on this, but I really feel that we need to have a conversation about the viral video that has gone around with the popular YouTuber, image consultant, stroke style consultant, Kevin Samuels, who went viral for basically, I would say, humiliating a black woman online. And I want us to have a conversation about it because black women need to start paying attention to the negative rhetoric, especially online, when it comes to their worth and their value and their esteem and what black women are deserving of, because we need to start understanding that black men like Kevin Samuels, for whatever reason, do not believe that average looking black women, and I would say particularly dark skinned black women, are not worthy of having standards and requirements. And why I say this is proven in the video that we see. And we need to stop co-signing these men and seeing how problematic it is when we entertain and allow and side with men who degrade and humiliate black women, especially online. And I've been seeing this play out in so many different scenarios and so many different ways. And we need to talk about it. So, I mean, we know we live in a society where black women, especially dark-skinned ones, are constantly made to feel inferior, ugly, that they're not worthy of love, that they don't need protection, and basically that we're undesirable. Like, that's just the standard. That has been the rhetoric and messaging for years. Like, I mean, pretty much since I remember. And we can put that down to facts, because even if you look at the stats, when you're looking at dating sites and things like that, black women were ranked as the least attractive and desirable. So we know we're already facing and contending with the fact that in society we are seen as inferior, undeserving, and undesirable. And we just have to accept that that is just what it is. There's not much we can do about that, how other people think of us. But what we can control is how we deal with ourselves, especially as a collective, because black women are fighting against so many different things. We're fighting systemic racism. We're fighting with our own black men that don't see us as, well, some of them don't see us as desirable. We're just fighting so many challenges upon challenges when it comes to functioning in a society like ours. Like, being a black woman in a Western society is just so problematic in many different ways. And we do have to contend with a lot of things, you know. So I just want to say that we need to stop allowing men and people to determine what we deserve and what we're worthy of, and also not using our image for clout and for humiliation. And I will say this, I really feel that the woman in the viral video, she did put herself in that position, and she did humiliate herself by even going onto that show. Because if anybody's watched any of his videos, he's a very narcissistic, misogynistic person. This is a man with, I would say, wounded masculinity, because he constantly feels the need to put himself and his whole thing, like he's positioning himself as like the prize. He's this, and he's great, and he's whatever, and you know, other women are just not deserving of him. Now, I think in what he said, he was very accurate, and I'm not going to deny some of the things that he said that were accurate, but it wasn't the full truth. And his main purpose, as far as I'm concerned, was to humiliate and degrade that woman. And we cannot allow black men or anyone to feel they can do this with impunity, because it's so problematic. It is so problematic for us. You know, we are living in this already toxic environment, and what we don't need for our own self-esteem, for our own self-worth, and for our own self-identity is to be constantly compared, humiliated, and told we are not worthy. So there's a few points that he made that, whilst everyone's co-signing, I actually want to pick the flaws in what he said. So first and foremost, he said, and he claimed that, so basically for anyone that doesn't know this situation, and let me just touch on it. I know most people do, but basically this woman went onto the show, and she was like, she wants to find her financial equal. Like, she wants to find a man. She's been struggling to find a man who is her financial equal. She's a six-figure earner and she has a business. And basically every time she meets a guy who earns lower than her, they either want to like go into business with her or take her money or whatever. So she was like, you know what? I want to find a six-figure guy, like a guy who is her financial equal, right? This is all she's asking for, to meet a man who is her financial equal. Then this Kevin goes on to say, well, you know, she basically is asking for too much, that men who earn six figures and above don't want to date women who look like her, and especially because she's a single mom. So because in his opinion, she is unattractive to him, she's just punching above her weight by requiring that the man that she dates or marries is a six-figure earner, right? Now, ladies, let me tell you something, yeah. Never, ever allow a man or a black man or anyone to lower your standards of what you desire and want in your life, whether it comes to career, you know, relationships, whatever, where you want to live. Like, don't. Because people like to do this. People love to tell you what you're deserving, especially for black women, because people think we shouldn't have standards and we should be grateful that even they're paying attention to us. And that's just such a myth. So let me just explain something about the six-figure comment, because at the end of the day, six-figure men like him, and welcome everyone who's joining. And I don't even know if he's a six-figure earner, because there's a lot of questionable things about his career and his claims to being a businessman and yada, yada, yada. Kevin Samuels isn't even like the men he's talking about, first and foremost. So let's just make that point here. But secondly, what he's saying is inaccurate. And this is what I see black men trying to do often, is try and make black women feel like, oh, you shouldn't want who he can't be. Because I probably tell you, this woman's probably earning more than him. You know, so he's like basically telling her that because she's average looking, and let's be honest, most people are average looking, right? Most people are average. Like, very few people are like 9s and 10s. Like, they're in the minority. Most people are average looking. So because she's an average looking black woman, she does not deserve to basically date a six-figure man, or no six-figure man. A man earning six-figure or above would not want her. That is not true. And here's why I say that is not true. First and foremost, there is 7.8 billion people in this world, right? And just because a woman is a single mother or is maybe average looking, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be someone out of 7.8 billion people who may find this woman desirable. Like, desirability is just not standard. Like, there's some men who think I am the most beautiful woman in the world, and others that think I'm ugly. Are they both right? Probably are, because it's subjective, right? It's subjective to the person looking. So he completely just went off kilter with that comment, because it's just not true. If she wanted to find that person, she just needs to look outside of men like him and probably like just date, because there's lots of men who are divorced, who have kids, you know, who might want a partner with kids. So that logic is just flawed. But a lot of men were co-signing it because most black men don't earn six figures. Let's just be honest. And they're looking at her thinking, well, I wouldn't be with her even if I didn't earn six figures. And that's okay. Like, everyone has their desirability. But can you see, just by that comment alone was there to like damage her view of herself. Like, it was just there to just erode even having the thought of that it's possible for her to even find a six-figure guy. His claim was six-figure men don't want you. And I was like, well, why not? He's saying because she's average and has a kid. But that does not stop a man from pursuing what he wants. Like, not all men want a 20-year-old with no kids. Some men are maturer. Some, and then this is another thing, black women, like, we need to start now really accepting and understanding that in the Western world, so I'm talking about the West because I only find these mindsets amongst black men who've been raised in the West, where they somehow feel that even if they are going to date a black woman, their preference would be someone who's lighter skinned or, like, being a dark skinned black woman is just undesirable in the West. It just is. So going to my next point, he was basically trying to say she should settle and that if she didn't, she was going to die alone and yada, yada, yada. And again, that's just nonsense. Like, how can one person determine, like, that somebody, just because they look a certain way? And let me explain something. Women, we can change our looks. We can look better. And I will say, on the woman's behalf, she was just silly for going on there. She didn't have the self-esteem and confidence. And this is what I'm saying. Women who follow and seek approval from men like this to get some sort of validation need to stop it. Like, we need to stop seeking validation and approval from these men that tear us down, men who don't want us, men who are just not particularly interested in our well-being, men who don't see us as a prize or see us as valuable, and men who actually probably feel a little bit emasculated, especially when you out-earn them, right? So black women, we just really need to pay a lot of attention, because if we're looking to elevate our lives, build the happiness that we want, have the relationships that we deserve, and really create a well-being, like, and practice self-love, we need to recognize and call out these attempts to humiliate and degrade our image. Because that's exactly what's going on. And these men are perpetuating the fact that in their eyes, because of how we look or whatever, and I get it, like, a man is attracted to how a woman looks. Like, we need to take care of ourselves and take care of our bodies and things like that. I get it. And men do prefer to marry and date, especially when they want to get married, a woman without kids. And I get it, and I don't disagree. And yeah, high earning men, some of them will prefer to have a trophy, but not all of them. Not all of them. And that's where we need to kind of wake up, that there is somebody out there who will value you, love you, respect you, and give you the deservingness that you need. But you will never, ever be able to actualize and realize that whilst being around and paying attention to these toxic narratives and letting it in. I know a lot of women that were watching this show who were co-signing and agreeing, like, oh yeah, who does she think she is, thinking she can get a six-figure man? Has you seen? I think that's what was really, really bizarre to me, is that it was a lot of black women co-signing this as well. Like, not just black men, but black women. We can't be the enemy against ourselves. We can't be saying, because maybe for some women, they may not feel it's possible for them to actually meet a man who can provide and actually give them, and six figures is not a lot. I mean, this woman was asking for a millionaire or anything, so again, it's like, we need to really level up our standards, and despite whether or not people think we're deserving of them. And we also need to hold these men accountable to stop degrading us and stop degrading our image as black women, and stop purporting the message or the messaging that we're constantly being fed, that we are not deserving, we're not desirable, and that we should just settle for less. So that was just my 10 and 2 pieces on the matter. I feel like this conversation around how we are, particularly as black women, degraded and humiliated And sometimes we do it to ourselves. I am not going to lie. Like sometimes we play into that messaging and that narrative. And we just need to work on not doing that and accepting and understanding that whilst other people may not see your worth and your value, it doesn't mean it's true, and it doesn't make you unworthy of what you desire. Now, you may have to think outside the box to get what you want, but it's not impossible. And don't allow people to use their narrative for their own agenda to make you feel less than or less worthy. Okay, sis? I love you lots, guys. Speak soon. Bye.